Hello students, I Saurav Awasthi, English faculty of Mount Litera G School have brought a new video, that is part 2 of the chapter The Rat Trap, where we are going to discuss about the peddler when he just collapsed and then he just heard a sound which was coming from a Ramsjo factory. So now students, we are going to start with the second part of the video now. Okay, let's begin. Those are the hammer strokes from an iron mill. He thought there must be people nearby. He summoned all his strength, got up and staggered in the direction of the sound. The Ramsjo Iron Works, which are now closed down, were not so long ago a large plant with a smelter, rolling mill and so now students, here as we saw in the previous video in part 1 that how he was just there in the jungle, he was lying over there, and then again a hope came for him of life, and now finally that means he heard a sound of hammers and now he started moving towards it. So now here we can see in the summertime long lines of heavily loaded barges and scows slid down the canal which led to a large inland lake, and in the winter time the roads near the mill were black from all the coal dust which shifted down from the big charcoal crates. So during one of the long dark evenings just before Christmas, the master smith and his helper sat in the dark fog near the furnace waiting for the pig iron which had been put in the fire to be ready to put on the anvil. Every now and then one of them got up to stir the glowing mass with a long iron bar, returning in a few moments dripping with perspiration, though as was the custom he wore nothing but a long shirt and a pair of wooden shoes. All the time there were many sounds to be heard in the forge. The big bellows groaned and the burning coal cracked. The fire boy shoveled charcoal into the mouth of the furnace with a great deal of clatter. Outside roared the waterfall, and a sharp north wind whipped the rain against the brick tiled roof. It was probably on account of all this noise that the blacksmith did not notice that a man had opened the gate and entered the fog until he stood close up to the furnace. Surely it was nothing unusual for poor vagabonds without any better shelter for the night to be attracted to the fog by the glow of light which escaped through the scuddy panes and to come in to warm themselves in front of the fire. The blacksmith glanced only casually and indifferently at the intruder. He looked the way people of his type usually did, with a long beard, dirty, ragged, and with a bunch of rat traps dangling on his chest. He asked permission to stay, and the master blacksmith nodded a haughty consent without honoring him with a single word. The tramp did not say anything either. He had not come there to talk but only to warm himself and sleep. In those days, actually, what used to happen in the Ramsjo iron mill was owned by a very prominent iron master whose greatest ambition was to ship out good iron to the market. He watched both night and day to see that the work was done as well as possible, and at this very moment he came into the fog on one of his nightly rounds of inspection. So here students, what actually then he saw over there was, naturally the first thing he saw was the tall ragamuffin who had eased his way too close to the furnace that steam rose from his wet rags. The ironmaster did not follow the example of the blacksmiths. who had hardly deigned to look at the stranger. He walked close up to him, looked him over very carefully, then tore off his slouch, had to get a better view of his face. But of course, it is you, Nils Olof, he said. How you do look? The man with the red traps had never before seen the Iron Master at Ramsjo and did not even know what his name was. But it occurred to him that the fine gentleman thought he was an old acquaintance. He might perhaps throw him a couple of kroner. Therefore, he did not want to undeceive him all at once. Yes, God knows things have gone downhill with me, he said. You should not have resigned from the regiment, said the Iron Master at that time, because he was thinking that he was his own friend. So now you can see, students, here that that was the mistake. If only I had still been in the service at the time, it never would have happened. Well, now, so like this, that means Iron Master thought that he was his old friend, the one who was working with him over there in the army, and so now he was his regimental friend. So that's why the confusion was created now, and now again this man was going to be fall into, or he is going to be caught into rat trap once again. So let's continue. Here, to go along up to the manor house and be received by the owner like an old regimental comrade, that however did not please the tramp. No, I couldn't think of it, he said. Looking quite alarmed, he thought of the 30 kroner. To go up to the manor house would be like throwing himself voluntarily into the lion's den. So now, here he only wanted a chance to sleep here in the forge and then sneak away as inconspicuously as possible. The Iron Master resumed that he felt embarrassed because of his miserable clothing. Please don't think that I have such a fine home that you cannot show yourself there. He said, Elizabeth is dead, as you may already have heard. My boys are abroad, and there is no one at home except my oldest daughter and myself. We were just saying that it was too bad we didn't have any company for Christmas. Now, come along with me and help us make the Christmas food disappear a little faster. But the stranger said no, and again no. And the Iron Master saw that he must give in. Here it looks as though Captain von Stealth preferred to stay with you tonight, Sturgeon Storm, he said to the master blacksmith, and turned on his heel. But he laughed to himself as he went away, and the blacksmith, who knew him, understood very well that he had not said his last word. So finally he was confused, that and he was knowing this thing, that that man is not going to come to join them for the Christmas. It was not more than half an hour before they heard the sound of carriage wheels outside the forge, and a new guest came in. But this time it was not the Iron Master. He had sent his daughter, apparently hoping that she would have better powers of persuasion than he himself. She entered, followed by a velvet carrying on his arm a big fur coat. She was not at all pretty, but seemed modest and quite shy. In the forge everything was just as it had been earlier in the evening. The master blacksmith and his apprentice still sat on their bench, and iron and charcoal still glowed in the furnace. The stranger had stretched himself out on the floor and lay with a piece of pig iron under his head and his hat pulled down over his eyes. Only please stay with us over Christmas Eve, she said, this in such a friendly manner that the Rattray peddler must have felt confidence in her. Now, peddler said, it would never have occurred to me that you would bother me yourself, miss. He said, I will come at once. He accepted the fur coat which the valet handed him with a deep bow. So here now the peddler was ready to go her home. I am so sorry, Captain, that you are having such a hard time. Now, like this, she looked at him compassionately with her heavy eyes, and then she noticed that the man was afraid. Either he has stolen something, or else he has escaped from jail, she thought, and added quickly, you may be sure, Captain, that you will be allowed to leave us just as freely as you came. So, like this, Adela will mention just made him ready to come to her home. Now, students, as soon as the young girl caught sight of him, she bent up and lifted his head. The man was evidently used to sleeping with one eye open. He jumped up abruptly and seemed to be quite frightened. My name is Adela Wilmanson, said the young girl. My father came home and said that you wanted to sleep here in the forge tonight, and then I asked permission to come and bring you home to us. So now, like this, Adela came here to take that man, threw it over his legs, and followed the young lady out to the carriage, without granting the astonished blacksmiths so much as a glance. But while he was riding up to the manor house, he had evil forebodings. Why the devil did I take that fellow's money? He thought. So here, students, he was thinking again about that old man whose money he have stolen at that time, and due to which he was moving from one place to another, and now have fallen again into a trouble, because where he was reaching now, there he is going to be caught. But still, again, that means he will be escaped from there, which you will see in the next part of the video, where you will come to know that what happened with that peddler at the last of this story. So, for today, we are ending up our story. Now, we will continue the story in the next video. Till then, be safe, be healthy, and stay at home. Thank you so much.